Greetings and welcome to the Quest for Wisdom podcast, where we search for nuggets of wisdom from the lives of some truly amazing people. Today's guest is Cal Murphy. Cal is a Barcelona-based singer and songwriter with a passion for Irish music. His style is a blend of traditional Irish folk music with a modern punk and sometimes comedic twist. Today we speak about Cal's new album, One More Glass of Whiskey, the creative process of songwriting, and the musical influences that shaped Cal's career. Cal is a passionate and warm-hearted person with a great talent for music. Check out the links in the description to find his music. I hope you enjoy our conversation as much as I did. Welcome, Cal Murphy, to the 19th episode of the Quest for Wisdom podcast. How does that make you feel?
Really honoured, mate. Really honoured. 19, special number.
It is a special number.
Yeah.
And I mean, I asked you ages ago and you kind of brushed it off, and then maybe it's taken a little while for that seed to grow in your subconscious, and now here you are.
Yeah. We'll go with that. It wasn't like I forgot and then spotted the link on social media and was like, yeah, I should do that.
I realised I forgot to. Well, I didn't forget actually. I tried to post. No, I didn't. I tried to post someone else's invitation yesterday. Yours would have been too late, and the post office was shut late yesterday anyway. But I have your invitation here, so don't let me forget to give it to you.
Great. Yeah, I'll need that for like half an hour ago. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, into the building.
Yeah, I do have it. But you are a human. You are
correct. Yeah.
Also
so they say.
yeah. Apparently, rumor has it. You're also a singer-songwriter. You are a father, and you are a lover of Irish music, which is why we originally connected, I think, rambling on about different songs that we like, basically.
Yeah, sounds about right, yeah. That's pretty much sums me up.
So which of those do you think is the most important in your life? And you don't have to just say father, because everybody thinks that's the right thing.
No, I mean, I think obviously being a father is fairly new. My eldest is 4, but you know, when your kids are born, everything does change, you know. And I think I probably would say, it's a cliche, but I think I probably would say that's the most important thing at the moment. At the moment, it's not like it's got to get to a point where it's somewhere down the year. So I'm just going to be like, actually, no, I don't love my kids. They're second. They come second now.
No, 18 years legal responsibility. Yeah. Then you can wipe your hands, kick them out.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Oh, can't wait for the day. But no. Of course, my kids are the most important thing in my life now. But close second would be the music. You know, that's been in my life a lot longer. But you know, now playing second fiddle to kids 1, 2, and 3. We had twins. For anyone who didn't know, we started with 1, and then accidentally had 2 more. And so
that's an expensive accident.
Yeah. I'm just glad that they're all too young to be listening to this and understanding. But no, they're great. They're all great. But I don't know. I suspect we probably want to talk. Oh my God, there's a mosquito on your mic.
Oh, get off! An angry mosquito.
Yeah, it's very on brand for you, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Is that your mascot?
Yeah, get out of here.
Yeah.
So, how and when did you get into music? And also, is music how you're earning your money at the moment?
I wish. No, I've got a 9 to 5 because you know, to pay the bills with music, you've got to be
Ed Sheeran.
Got to be, or you've got to be. I don't know. You've got to have. I was about to say you've got to be good, but that's really underselling myself on an interview. But no,
you have to have a lucky break. That's what you have to have.
I think so. Yeah, I think you know. A lot of people say it's not. It's not what you know. It's who you know, and I think there's some truth to that. But I think part of it's luck, and part of it's having the time as well. You know, like you mentioned Ed Sheeran. I know that. I think before he got a big break, you know, he was one of these prolific giggers who was just going around playing all these small scale venues anywhere that would have him. And I think you've kind of got to have that to make it on your own terms at least. Unless
I think he was discovered by SBTV. I think
may well be. Yeah.
SBTV were like a I think it was him, that SBTV were like, when I was maybe 14, 15, something like that, they were going around and finding like rappers on the street, mainly rappers, and I think they found him busking somewhere, and then they made him really famous. But they made quite a few other people famous, but I think it was set up by a rapper, SBTV.
Yeah, I mean, from what I know, he was sort of loosely associated with the grime scene, wasn't he? Cause
exactly.
He used to rap quite
SBTV is
a lot,
grime.
but sort of mixed bits of that with the sort of the folky stuff. Because he's another plastic paddy like us, Irish descent, living in England, and
Except he's got the authentic red hair though.
Yeah.
You've got a sort of ginger beard going on though.
I used to be proper ginger actually when I was a kid. Yeah. And you can only really see it now, like. My hair looks a bit reddy when like in the sunlight, when certain lights hit it, you can kind of go, oh yeah, I can kind of see a bit of auburn in there. But it used to, when I was a kid, it used to be like proper. I was the kid, even though it was never like orange, but I was the ginger kid in the class, the one who got picked on for being ginger. And it's one of those weird things, isn't it? That when you're at that age, you'd give anything not to be ginger. And then you get older, and then you're like, actually, no, I quite like the red hair, and it's gone fucking brown now, pretty much. But the only giveaway is the beard, like you say.
Yeah, when you're younger, you don't really want to stick out too much, and then when you're older, you kind of do. I don't want to be like everyone else.
Yeah, exactly. It's that.
But I heard a crazy thing about Ed Sheeran as well, that I think it was saying that he writes like 5 or 6 songs a day.
Yeah, I wouldn't surprise me. I mean, I'm not a massive Ed Sheeran fan, but I've got a lot of respect for the guy, actually. Which is probably weird to say, because most of the people around me, like music-wise in the music scene, tend to be very anti-Sheeran, but like, it's one of those things with popular artists, isn't it? That when artists get popular, and especially when they are quite poppy, I think a lot of people on the scene just kind of like roll their eyes, like, oh, fuck's sake. But I think a lot of the sort of hate comes from
jealousy.
But also just being overplayed, and that's not his fault. It's that's too many people getting into him and repeatedly having him on the radio, and way too many covers at open mic nights. In fact, I did a bit of ribbing of Sheeran and people covering him on one of the tracks off the new album. Actually,
oh really?
Yeah.
You did a diss.
I did a diss. Like I said,
Ed Sheeran's going to come back with a comeback diss against you.
Yeah. Well, like I say, it's not so much. It's not so much a dig at. I mean, I may have described him as a catchy little ginger fucker, but it's not so much a stab at Sheeran as people covering him, really. Because, like I say, I do have respect for the guy, or at least his early stuff. Like I said, I'm not a massive fan, but I think I've listened to probably most of his albums at least once, just because there's usually something good on it. I mean, the later ones, not really my cup of tea, but certainly the first one he did was mainly acoustic stuff, and maybe a bit on the soft side for me, but there's some good songs on it. And the thing is, I respect anyone who's sort of who writes their own stuff, and it's one of those things, isn't it? Because there's so many of these artists that are in the popular eye and get so big as Sheeran has done, and fucking hell, I mean, he took off so quickly, didn't he? After he put out, what was the first song? The A-Team, and that's a great song.
That was a great song.
I mean, like I say, won't be everyone's cup of tea. 'Cause it's a bit soft and gentle, and his voice doesn't really have much edge to it. It's very radio friendly, but I mean the lyrics to that
is brilliant,
are great, and when you think that that's the song that's created one of the biggest pop stars of the last decade or so, and it's about like a homeless immigrant junkie prostitute struggling to live on the streets. I mean, that's kind of heavy stuff, and no respect for that, man.
Me and Emma were talking about yesterday how when you're like a famous pop star or whatever, and then you go away, angry mosquito.
I know.
And then like, when they write songs about their exes or they write love songs or whatever.
Yeah.
But imagine if you were like someone who went out with Ed Sheeran, or you went out with like Taylor Swift or someone like that.
Yeah.
And then you're with a new partner. Then imagine that you're at the wedding or something, the DJ doesn't know, and they start just like playing that person's song, or it's just like you're in the car together, it's on the radio, and it's like a song about you, or their song about how much their song about how much
breakup song.
Either a breakup song or a love song about you.
Yeah,
but then I always think about
worse.
yeah, and then the artist, like imagine if they make a really soppy love song that gets really famous. And then it breaks up, or that person breaks up with them, breaks their heart, and then they have to carry on playing that song because it's really popular.
Yeah, well, definitely, I've thought about that before. That's definitely something that happens. But I think, I don't know, like, I've heard some artists say that it sort of changed the meaning of the song. You know, like they think about the song differently after a while. You know, it comes to mean different things. There was... Who was it? It was recently. Like I was watching an interview with Corey Taylor from Slipknot, and I don't know if you're a big Slipknot person.
I liked rock, but I never liked hard rock. I liked some of the guitar riffs in some of the songs for certain bands, but Slipknot, I never really listened to anything of them.
Oh, fair play. No, obviously they're one of those, you know. They were the metal band when I was sort of growing up. And it took me a bit of time to get into metal and to get into stuff as heavy as Slipknot. But I don't know, I've got a broad music taste. And yeah, now I think with the nostalgia value, I really appreciate them. And I saw them for the first time last year, actually, which was one off the bucket list. But no, I listened to an interview with Corey Taylor recently, and there's a Slipknot song. It's pretty much the only ballad in their catalogue, and it's, you know, a really sort of heartfelt one called Snuff. And they when he wrote it originally, it was about a breakup with a woman who he still loved and had been a part of his life for ages. And, you know, it's one of these that really good song, really good lyrics, and, you know, pulls at the heartstrings and all that. But he was saying that now he's sort of made his peace with that relationship. And the song, when he does that song, it doesn't really make... He's not thinking about that anymore. He's now thinking about it's now sort of in his mind, it's dedicated to Paul Gray. It was the bassist who died. I think after they recorded that album. So like the whole meaning of the songs changed for him. And I think that's something that probably happens in those situations that you're talking about, like where you write a song for someone or about someone, and you've got to keep playing that then over the years. I think maybe the artists start thinking about it differently.
That does make sense. I always wonder as well, do they, artists in general, and do you ever get sick of playing your own songs?
Yeah. There's sometimes there's some that I have to take a break from for a little bit. I mean, you'll know the ones. I don't know if anyone who's listening knows my material, but seemed like a good idea at the time. Is, you know, the song that for me that sort of won't go away, because that's going on. In fact, it's probably more than 10 years old now. Because I actually wrote that for the band I was in before I left Manchester, before I came here. And we it was sort of an early version. It wasn't quite the same as it is now that I've recorded. But we used to play that. That was sort of our funny song, in a set of otherwise serious songs. But I wrote it back then. And then after moving over here, didn't play it for a bit. But then when I started doing open mics, I started at the open mic in Craft. It used to be run by a guy called Vincent Valentine, and he was more of a comedian. He'd done comedy open mic nights, but then the thing he started running at Craft was sort of a bit of both. It was music and comedy and the occasional poet. It was sort of anything goes. But because there was so much emphasis on the comedy, I thought, well, you know, maybe I should just give that a go again. And I did, and it went down really well. Again, mosquito. No, it went down really well, and then I started doing more comedy stuff there. But that was the one that people kind of wanted to hear, so I started doing that, and then I started playing, you know, whole solo sets, and I recorded. Seemed like a good idea for my first sort of self-produced DIY album on Spotify, by the way. And
what's it called?
The first album was called So This Is Life. And yeah, seemed like a good idea was on that. And yeah, pretty much since that was 2018 I did that. And then, you know, I made a video for it at some point over the COVID, when over the pandemic, between lockdowns, managed to, and even during actually, that's why I filmed a lot of that video, just myself playing all the characters, because stuck at home, just like, yeah, let's crack on with it. And it became a sort of running joke that in all the flashbacks I played all the characters. But anyway, that's one that now, because I've been doing it every show for years, and everyone always wants to hear, now that does my head in, having to get that out. And last year I tried to drop it from the set a few times and didn't always manage it successfully, because they kept getting requests for it. Someone was always like at the end, "Oh, you haven't done seem like a good idea at the time." Like, I almost got away with it. Almost got away with it this time, and yeah. But no, that's one that I'd like to retire for a bit. Yeah, and the other one that
I think that about some of the Irish artists that, like, the oldies.
Yeah.
Christy Moore and like the Wolf Tones when they're around, and the Dubliners when they're around, playing the same songs for 40 solid years.
No, definitely.
Not even just week in, day out, for 40 years, the same song.
And the same songs, and they're also the same songs that you hear everywhere. Every Irish bar you go at, and Wild Rover and Whiskey in the Jar,
and like all of this, and I'm like, how does it even? And even like the likes of Elton John. I mean, he's got a huge repertoire, in fairness, but like they've been playing for 50 years. Like the same shit. And how do they still have that level of enthusiasm, or at least perceived enthusiasm? To be getting up there after all that time, they must love it. Yeah, or they must really, really love it. Yeah,
or they love the money and are half decent actors. That's one of the two.
Yeah,
but no, I mean, I think you do love it. It's one of those. I mean, I'm not, obviously not that sort of level, but I've been playing for years, and
do you love it?
I still love it. Yeah, of course I do. Otherwise, I wouldn't do it. I mean, like I was saying before, it doesn't pay the bills. It's
true.
It's it'd be great if it could. It's one of the things that I would really love if I could actually make a living just off music and put all my effort into that. But it isn't the case. But I still do it because it's a passion. And even if you are playing the same stuff, even if I did have to play, seemed like a good idea every fucking day, I'd still do it because it's worth the repetitiveness just to keep getting on stage and doing that stuff. And yeah.
True. Because one thing you said earlier, about just gigging as much as possible and all those things, like, it is a grind. It's the same with comedy. It's the same with any performance. It's just like the people who get really good at comedy here do it 3 or 4 times a week, every week, and they do the same set for like a year, pretty much the same set. Like, they're obviously like tweaking bits and bobs, but for a year or 2 or 3, crafting that whole just one 10-minute set over that whole space of time. And I just, before I kind of came in and entered the scene, I just never appreciated the actual amount of effort that goes into it, because it's just like going to the gym. It's just putting your reps in, isn't it? And just keep going. And then I kind of just got thinking that all it takes is being in the right place at the right time and for the one right person to see you. Yeah, and that's the break. And I suppose the more that you expose yourself, the more you bring that chance of something good happening.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's true. I think that's definitely the way it's worked for years. But I mean, I think the other thing now is so much of that has moved online as well. I think there's a lot of people who are sort of making their own success by being really on it with social media, with and across all platforms. Now it's Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and getting music out on Spotify as well is becoming more and more important. And I always find Spotify a bit of a I don't know whether I like, because it's shit for me in terms of actually making money from it, because you don't make money from Spotify. It's a business model that's set up purely to benefit the person who's made it, and the cut that artists get is ridiculously small. Low level sort of underground artists like myself aren't making anything off it, but it's sort of the exposure in it that's the only reason we do it, is because you want to reach a wider audience, because otherwise nothing's ever going to happen. And it's sort of that's sort of the way recorded music's going, and artists are making a lot more or a bigger percentage of what they earn from from live shows, from merch sales, from doing all that. But there are definitely some artists that are, sort of, like I said, sort of making their own look and doing things on their own terms by reaching an audience online. There's a couple of musicians that I follow. I think they're from the States. There's but so it's sort of stuff that you wouldn't expect to take off in the way that it has. But there's this electric fiddle player called, I think she's called Mia Sano.
Yes, I've seen her recently.
And then there's the
kind of like gothic-y looking.
Yeah. And then there's a bagpipe player called Ali the Piper, and they've sort of ended up having a big following on, like I say, across all these like Insta and YouTube and that, because they just publish lots of content. And a lot of it's good, and they've got sort of a good formula of what they do for the shorts, and very often doing this sort of switch from, about to start playing something in the room, and then manage to do a cut to a live show and edit it into a short, and that's and it's something that obviously generates them a lot of interactions, a lot of follows, and they've got to the point now where they've done sort of a crossover, and they've done like an album together, and then they're touring and stuff, and
they've done it together.
Yeah, they've done an album together, sort of joined forces, recorded an album. I think they've got some other musicians backing them, and then and now they're going on tour, and it's like that's worked so well. I don't think that's come from anyone sort of discovering them, as it were. I think that's just come sort of off their own backs by setting up the social media presence and really putting the time into it. So yeah, I think we're seeing sort of a new way to do stuff that's not sort of as dependent on a record label discovering you as an artist. I think there's the internet's opened up sort of possibilities, as long as you manage to invest the time and play your cards right. It's one of those, I think.
Yeah,
which I don't.
Yeah, it is very true. Yeah. Like, you can, in a lot of ways, you can craft your own destiny now. Yeah. In that sense, but it is very. I suppose the good thing about it is that creative people are the ones making the music, and then creating videos and all that other type of shite on the side. That's all creative stuff as well. Yeah. So in theory, it should all be suited to the person doing it.
Yeah, you think, yeah, but it's different skills as well. Like
totally different skills.
Like making videos and stuff. That's because all the stuff I've done has been very much DIY. I've had bits of help here and there. But a lot of it, I was just kind of had to figure out. You sort of ask for recommendations on what sort of programs to use, but then you just have to sort of figure out how it works and what works, and it's a bit of a learning process. But yeah,
the coolest thing I saw recently, a few days ago, is this some guy in like Peru or Ecuador or something like that, I think, and he's recreated an old Mayan flute. So some archaeological find. It looks like it's kind of made out of some sort of clay, and it's got all the typical Mayan carvings on it. Right. And it seems like it has basically 3 holes for blowing through that have 3 different tones, basically. So like a kind of like a bass, a middle, and a treble, more or less. And you can put your mouth in a certain way so that all 3 come out at the same time. It looks like that has 6 keyholes. But there could have been more. I couldn't see. Right. But it just had the most amazing sound. I was like, oh my god, I want one of those so much, because it was just like having these 3 sounds all coming at the exact same time. I hadn't heard something like that before. Wow. And he was like playing this like really miney tunes. I'll send it to you. It's really cool.
Please do. Yeah. Put it in the comments.
Yeah, I'll put it in the comments. And the other thing I really want to get, I had one when I was younger, but I never practiced very much. But I want to get it for when I get my lute machine. Is the Jews harp. Like that.
Like what? Sorry.
But I saw some people on YouTube doing like techno Jews harp things. Wow. Where they're just like it's really, really cool. So that's next on the list, because that's just something you can carry around with you and then just whack out at any time.
Yeah. I'm not sure it's always going to sound techno though,
Well, I don't know. If I practice it every day for a year,
Yeah, well, maybe.
which I probably won't.
I think you're still going to need a beat, aren't you? Man, you said you were getting a loop pedal, just
Yeah, exactly. All I need that's
pre-record the beep and then take it out with you with your juice harp and
that's the beauty of it. No, but they're making the beat with the.
Oh right,
you're actually making the techno sound. That's what I mean.
I thought you meant you were making like, sort of like the bass sound, but
no, they can make all different sounds with it. But that's the beauty of the loop machine. Is I only need to learn how to play something for one bar.
Yeah. Well, you say you say that, but the biggest problem with I mean, assume you mean like a like loop pedal. But the biggest problem with
not necessarily loop, like you know, like one of the ones where you can basically record maybe let's say up to 8 different tracks and loop them all.
Yeah.
You know, so like you make like the beat first, then you loop that, and it's like burr, 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 and it keeps playing. And then
do you mean like a handheld one though, or do you mean like an
actual one, like one that looks a bit like that?
Right. All right.
Like where it's got, that might even be one where it's got 8 different buttons.
Yeah, I'm sure it's going to be a similar thing. But what I was going to say was the trick with all these things is the timing, because and it is a skill. You know, I think some people are sort of look down on artists using loop pedals as sort of an easy cheat to get to multi-layer things, but honestly, there is a skill to using it, because I used to have one built into an amp that I had years ago, and it was, it took a bit of practice to actually manage to get that, because you've got to be fucking precise, especially if you're doing several layers at once, because you make the slightest time slip on one of them, and it sounds like absolute gash. You really need to be fucking on. And honestly, just to jump back in the conversation, this is another reason why I do quite respect Ed Sheeran, because he does that every night in every one of his shows. He didn't invent the loop pedal, might not be the best ever to use it, but there's got to be some respect there to be able to create without a backing track, just create your own backing tracks on the spot every night and nail the timing on all these different layers.
Is that what he does?
Yeah. Did you know? Yeah. This like I say, there is a skill to that, and also to writing compositions that complex that you can then execute yourself just with a guitar. But no, it is something that I think requires a bit of practice. Yeah, getting the loop right. It's not as easy as just might be a bit easier with the handheld thing, but certainly with the pedal, being able to just get it exactly on the beat for the loop. Yeah, it's trickier than you think.
Yeah. Oh well. I'll come back to you.
Not to put you off. No, you should never be put off by a challenge. But all I'm saying is
like,
it might not be quite as easy.
Boom. Boom. But if I had a metronome next to it, that might be all right.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think as long as you've got some either some sense of rhythm or some sort of beat, some sort of click or a beat keeping you in time. But I don't know. I mean, like, I think it would work just as long as you've got a good sense of rhythm. But it's just nailing the switch. You know what I mean? That's the bit that's hard. Because if you sort of run it over just slightly, and it ends up being slightly longer than a bar, then the next one that you come round to do is also going to be fucked,
But what if all of the things that you do are only one bar?
Yeah, but I mean, I'm saying that the problem is just making sure that it is just a bar and not just like ticking over, like one layer ticks over slightly and everything gets out of sync. You know what I mean? It's so you've just got to be on it when you end the bar. Like start the bar, end the bar, and you've got to just get it exactly right on every layer that you record. Otherwise, it won't all line up. See what I mean?
Yeah. So stick to 4/4 timing.
Do you want a donut? Sorry,
no thanks. Do
you
want
snacks?
A donut?
I do a bit.
Yeah, go have a donut.
Have a donut. Great for a podcast, isn't it? It's, the rest of my answers are just going to be out. Well, there's no.
Yeah, I'm not sophisticated enough to sit and drink whiskey and smoke cigars, so donuts
have
are
a donut
okay for today.
Yeah. I mean, it's only. Actually, no, it's 12:30. It's probably past midday. It's socially acceptable to drink now.
Yeah, well, you wanted a beer earlier.
I did. I'm supposed to be doing dry January, but I started late anyway. I started.
It's damp January anyway.
It's damp January.
Damp January.
Oh, it's damp January.
It's not dry, but it's not wet. It's damp.
Oh, just have a little bit of beer.
Yeah,
a little bit. Just one at a weekend, and But I don't know. Like I started doing it, and then just thought, this last week I just thought like a month. That's insane. Why am I doing a month? Like apparently, I don't. And feel free to correct in the comments, but apparently, it only takes sort of 2 to 3 weeks for your liver to fully regenerate on average, depending on the person. So, like, Why do a full month? Do 2 or 3 weeks and you'd be fine. Because it's a fad, isn't it? It's dry January. One of these things people do. But if everyone did dry January, bars would all be shut by February. All go under.
Yeah. I think it should be dry July.
Because it rhymes.
Because it rhymes.
Yeah.
And also, going dry in July is way better because there's so much more things you can do and keep yourself occupied with. January is like dark and wet and miserable and cold.
It's true. Well, actually, you say that. Not been so bad here, has it? In sunny Barcelona, we've had a few wet days, but I think the thing that's made it most difficult for me going the last couple of weeks without a drink is just the fact that we've had sunny days. You know, sun's out, and what do you want? Yeah, I just want to be in it. Man, you don't drink, do you? Sorry,
I don't know. I don't have that issue.
you just sat there nodding like, yeah.
Keep
talking to yourself.
I was actually thinking the other day how I think January might actually be one of my favourite months of the year because
why?
Because I feel
mouthful donut.
Why? Because
why, Connor? Why?
I feel so full of energy, and I feel so motivated, and I feel really excited for the year. And like, I plan my goals for the year, and then I'm like really on it. And I'm just excited for all the stuff that's going to happen for the year. And that happens in January.
Oh, fair point. So you don't get January blues or anything then?
No, I get the opposite. I get like January excitement. I get excitement to tick off a year and like see which goals I've achieved. And then I get excitement I get lots of excitement the days leading up to New Year's Eve to write my new goals and think about the next year and what's going to happen and all that stuff. And then January hits and I feel really motivated and really excited. And when I feel motivated, then I feel really happy generally.
Well, that's good. That's probably the way most people should look at it. But it is that thing, isn't it, that most people get to January and after all the fun and
libations.
And libations, good word, of Christmas and New Year, and then it's all of like, back to work, and the weather's shite, and yeah, no, but look, it's the thing, isn't it? Loads of people get down.
Yeah, I think it also helps that I love my work, so then I'm actually usually itching to get, like, we usually have it's pretty quiet over the Christmas period, and then so I usually have like a week or two off, well, a week-ish off, but then I'm usually itching to get back, and probably I wouldn't feel like that if I were doing jobs that I were doing in the past.
Yeah.
Then I probably would be like, ugh, a whole nother year of doing something I don't like doing.
No, fair play.
So
it's nice to enjoy what you're doing, isn't it?
It's nice to enjoy what you're doing. So who do you think would be your top 5 music bands / people?
Oh, fuck. You mean in terms of like just like what I'm listening to now, like or you mean like our biggest influences, like where you
Of all time, just favourites.
Oh, it's a toughie, isn't it? That one, you know, there's so many. I'll tell you some. I think I probably have to do this going on who's had the most impact on me. Then I guess because I don't know. Favourites or objectively the best is difficult. That's something that I could change.
Objectively the best is a bit of a it's a bit of a silly one. Though,
yeah,
really.
It is because music is just subjective. But you know, I don't know. Right, I think probably the band that's I credit with getting me into music, and not saying that they're objectively the best band of all time, not that you can be objective, we just established that, but definitely the band that got me into music was Green Day.
Oh, I love Green Day.
Yeah, just done an album actually, and it's
Really?
it's pretty good compared with the stuff they've been releasing for the last decade, which hasn't been as good. But no, like when I was 12 or 13, I think, when they released American Idiot, and that was what really turned me onto music. That album, which I still think is a fucking cracking album. You know, like it's because it was ambitious, wasn't it, for a pop punk band? I don't think I kind of realised when I first heard it, sort of how ambitious it was. Like I think I just sort of heard those those first few singles like Boulevard of Broken Dreams and American Idiot, and I was just like, yeah, no, I really like this. But the more I listened to it and listened to the whole album, it was because it's a concept album, isn't it? It sort of has a story to it, has characters, and I never heard anything like that. But then again, until that point, I think I'd just been listening to I didn't really have music taste. When you're a kid, you just sort of first listen to what your parents put on, and then you start listening to, the poppy shite that, kids at your primary school like, S Club 7 and all that stuff. You don't really have a music taste of your own, and then you hit your teenage years, and then all of a sudden there's something that will speak to you. And that was it for me. It was like, wow, this is fucking great. And from there, because even though American Idiot's quite poppy and quite well produced, and it's stadium rock, really. They always say that they're a punk band, and so they were sort of my gateway drug into getting into punk music, and then I sort of really got, that defined my music taste for quite a while, but from punk I started getting into more other rock, and then I got into metal, and then, I just started branching off from there, but that's where my sort of obsession with music began, and that was the album that made me want to pick up a guitar and start playing, and then I did. But I think Green Day are up there for me. Anyway,
just to pause there for a second, because I've never. I hear people talking about albums, and for me, I always focus on the individual songs.
Right.
I've never been a person that understands the album as a whole, and I don't tend to listen to albums all the way through, especially now with the likes of Spotify.
Yeah.
It was a little bit different back in the day when there were CDs and stuff, but I don't think at the time I realized that an album was curated in a certain way to tell a certain story or be in a certain way.
Yeah.
I always just thought it was a compilation of the songs they'd made. And that was that.
I think in some cases it is, but
greatest hits.
Yeah. No. I think some artists do just do that. Just we've written this many songs, whack them all on an album. I think the best albums are the ones where a bit of thought goes into it. Because I am someone who listens through albums start to finish, but I think you're right. I think it's becoming a bit of a sort of a dying trend and a bit of a dying art putting albums together because. Things like Spotify and Apple Music, you just listen to the songs, you create your own playlists, and less and less people are sort of listening to albums as a whole. But in a way, I think that's sad because I think that a lot of artists over the years have made albums to be listened to front to back, and especially when it's something like American Idiot or like Tommy by The Who or Pink Floyd's The Wall, where it is a concept, and some of these have stories that go through from start to finish. The songs are it's almost written like a musical, but not in the style of the band, and also so you can enjoy the singles as standalones, but they still come together to form a whole, and that's I like the experience of that, and especially when there is an actual concept tying together, whether it's a story or whether it's just sort of a general theme or whatnot. I like that. I like the sort of, the thought that's gone into that and how stuff can work, and how, the clever artists sometimes have, themes, lyrics, motifs or whatever that they come in one song and then they reincorporate later into another song. And I find all that stuff interesting and clever. And but even albums that aren't, that don't have that concept, I think I like to listen to them front to back to see what the artist had in mind, and sometimes you listen to it and you think, well, this is just like a collection of songs because there isn't really any ebb and flow, rise and fall, and all that. But you see, that's something I always think about when I'm putting music together. It's like I don't think neither of my albums have been, like a concept like that, like having a story. But I do but when I've put a lot of thought into the track listing and just trying to make sure that. You do have a bit of rise and fall, a bit of variation, because and it's a lot like putting together a playlist. I guess that's what people are doing for themselves now, putting together,
moods,
putting together moods, and putting together, tracks by what different artists and whatever. But in an like I mean, some people will just whack them all on a playlist and put it on shuffle, but I think some people do sort of think about what they want to listen to and how it's gonna all work together, and I think that's the kind of what what artists like I'm talking about do with albums. You know, it's a nice experience. I think listening to something front to back as the artist intended.
Okay, so that is going to be my goal. Then I'm going to start listening to just albums. Because I would 100% appreciate it if I noticed, like you said, like a little motif or some lyrics cropping up or a thing. I'd be like, oh, that's cool. That would make me really happy. But I don't think I've come across that because I haven't listened to albums in a row. But I probably would really like that. And I had an idea for, I've written maybe like 6 or 7 poems, and they're part of a kind of series. And I was going to call it like People of the World or something like that. But they're all like, the little boy from Syria, the child from Peru, the girl from Moscow, the old man from Belfast, the man from Afghanistan, and some other ones, the man from Japan, and like that.
Man from Japan,
the man from Japan, and they're all like,
we like a good rhyme, don't we?
Yeah, and some are all some are like long ballads, and some are like fairly short. But the idea was I wanted to basically start. There's already some crossover. There's another one called The Ballad of John Doe. And there's like already some crossover in 2 of them now between the girl from Moscow and The Ballad of John Doe, where they kind of mention the character in the other one. But I wanted to kind of create this sort of web where they kind of link in. But then now what you're saying there is just made me think, maybe that would be the cool concept for the album, where they all sort of link in together. And I've got most of the writing, but I'd have to turn them into actual songs, which will be challenging. And like there's one of them, The Ballad of John Doe, which is the one that I've written the tune for at the moment. And it'll be sort of like, have you ever heard Dance with the Devil by Immortal Technique?
No, I haven't, no.
It's like a pretty crazy song that came out like quite a long time ago. Immortal Technique, they're like a rap group, but they do a lot of sort of political stuff and really dark stuff.
Got to give them a listen,
kind of like
then,
anti-government, that type of thing. But there's this one song, Dance with the Devil, which is basically about this young kid who wants to join a gang, and to be part of the gang, they're like, right, you have to do an initiation, and the initiation is to basically like rape this woman.
Oh shit!
And then they like drag her up the stairs and rapes her, and then he realizes it's his mum, and then he kills himself.
Wow, that's pretty heavy shit, isn't it?
But it's got the reason why, like, it's got this really catchy tune, which it must be like an old, like classical tune or something, because it's now that tune, that same what do you call it, like same loop basically, is now being used in a pop song, a pop song that's out now. Of the actual tune. I don't know what the pop song is, but it's like one they always play in gyms. But
it's a lot less rapey, I'm guessing.
A lot less rapey. It's just like a kind of, it might even be like Rihanna or someone like that. I don't know. But it's just that little that tune. But so this Ballad of John Doe is a little bit like that, where it's kind of it's a tragic ballad.
Right.
But so I'm gonna kind of like talk / rap that one, but then some of the shorter ones I want to put like a little chorus and try and make an actual song out of them, because this one's like 20 verses or something like that, you know, the Ballad of John Doe. So I can't really make that into a song, because if I put choruses in there, it'd be like a 10-minute song. Everybody's like, oh, for God's sake, shut up.
Depends how fast you rap, though, innit?
True, yeah.
Up the tempo and
like 200 beats per minute. Just like double time spitting bars,
spitting it out like Eminem.
But that'd be a nice little because I think I would. The thing is that I really like, as everything's becoming really like techie and advancing, and there's all these new like we're mentioning, you know, like making new shorts and TikToks. That I think is really cool, and I really appreciate the people that do that. However, I want to stick to kind of like semi-traditional type of things, like at least for a while, and hold on to that for as long as possible, because the new market will get saturated, and then like the old stuff will be like vintage. Yeah. You know, and it's like, then you have your niche already there, because you're the only one left doing the normal stuff. Yeah. That's slightly different, but I don't know. It's pretty cool. So that's your number one, Green Day. Number two.
Oh shit! Yeah, I forgot we were doing that. I tell you what. Going to the shared love of Irish music, I have to give a shout out to Liam Clancy, who I think is the
legend.
Yeah, I think he's the greatest. I will go as far as saying the greatest singer ever, or certainly the greatest ballad singer. Fucking Bob Dylan said that as well. Like,
Really?
Yeah, because they were mates. They knew each other from when the Clancys were in New York. But yeah, I mean, this is one that I'm guessing a lot of people won't have heard. But if you haven't, look up Liam Clancy and just some of the stuff that he was singing. I mean, I don't think he wrote much. I think out of their, they did a lot of the Irish standards, didn't they, the Clancys, and I think the originals all came from Tommy Makem.
Yeah.
But no, Liam Clancy's voice and his delivery when he was singing stuff like Green Fields of France and The Parting Glass, absolutely fucking beautiful. Like, but for me, the best renditions of those songs. A lot of people for Green Fields of France swear by the Furies, but I just don't think they've heard Liam Clancy sing it because, the sheer emotion that comes out of, Oh, so they say that came out of that man. Rest in peace. But
he does have a very unique voice.
Yeah,
it's very distinct. Like you can always tell.
Yeah,
like a kind of like funny real old school accent.
Yeah.
And it's always there in their little Aaron Island sweaters. Like, yeah, they were cool. I was sad I never got to see the likes of the Clancy brothers.
Yeah, no, me too. And never got to see any of them live, but it's one of my sort of oldest musical memories, and it's obviously something that's stuck with me because I'm still into all the Irish trad and that. But it was my grandma was the big Clancy Brothers fan, and I'd very often had the tapes on when we went round to visit her, and then after she passed away, all them tapes ended up in my dad's car. But one of them was. Well, there were a couple of Clancy ones, but it was particularly sort of post-Clancy brothers. Liam Clancy and Tommy Makem did tours together as Makem and Clancy, I think. Clancy and Makem, one of the two. But there was a tape of them. Remember tapes? Yeah. But there was a tape of them with some of their best stuff on, and there was also a live one, I remember. And it's just that stuff's just sort of stuck with me over the years and just left that impression. And like even now, listening to some of that stuff, it brings a tear to my eye. It really does. Like the way he delivered, or the way, it's the delivery, the way they sing. But but the other interesting thing with I think with a lot of that classic Irish folk is that there's the other side of it as well. They did have a sense of humour. When you listen to the live performances, there's the banter with the audience, but there's also the odd funny song on there, and I think that's probably why I do stuff the way I do, because I think that's just the way I learn. I thought that there's a bit. I think it's almost. I don't really thought about it that much, but I think it's sort of an instinct that I feel like a show should be making your audience laugh and cry. And maybe that's why I've always sort of. No matter what project I'm in, no matter how serious the majority of the songs, there's always something funny that I have to try to do. There's always that impulse to write a funny song. Yeah, maybe that's it. But Liam Clancy definitely makes my top artists. Nice. Biggest influences.
Have you heard? I think what's it called? The Bricklayers, something that he does, where it's about a brickie basically sending an apology note for being late for work.
Yeah.
For like falling off a ladder and like having the hod fall on his head or something like that.
Rings a bell. That's a funny one. It's like so stupid. Yeah. The funny one that always sticks in my head that he did was the 200-year-old alcoholic. You ever heard that one? No. And that's like I think he picked that one up in the States because he does it in an American accent as well, like a Carolina accent, and it is just silly, but it is pretty much what it says on the tin, and it starts off with like, when I was 80 I started smoking, and it just sort of the whole joke being that this guy just has lived a clean life until he's hit his 80s and then starts smoking, drinking, takes on all these vices, but also becomes a businessman. And then then the punchline sort of in the final verse is that he's now a 200-year-old alcoholic. Yeah, well, that was always good.
I need to listen to that one.
Yeah, I'll send you.
So that's
Link in the comment.
Link in the comments. So that's the two. Who's number 3?
Oh, jeez, I'm going to start bashing through these, aren't I? God, I want probably Black Sabbath are up there. They were absolutely groundbreaking in the sort of templates that they set down for for all the metal music to follow and hard rock stuff, and it's the iconography as well, like Ozzy Osbourne and Tony Iommi, sort of very sort of what's the word I'm looking for? Charismatic figures and had a lot of stage presence and just a lot of influence and and some of the stuff that they did as well. When you think about Paranoid, it's so fucking simple but absolute earworm. The song, right? I'm doing you now, aren't I? Just making noises into the sodding mic. But like 3-chord trick, but great song, and they did a lot. Sabbath. So why not? Let's throw them up there as one of the best.
So we've gone from Liam Clancy to Black Sabbath.
Yeah, told you I've got a very broad music taste. Throw the Prodigy next. No, I'm not sure I'd put Prodigy top 5, but
number
but
4.
I am a big Prodigy
Number 4, Girls Aloud.
Yeah. Why the hell not? No, number 4. Going to go with the Clash.
The Clash.
Clash were fucking brilliant. Yeah, again.
They're from up in your neck of the woods, aren't they?
No, they're London band.
Are they?
Yeah.
Oh, who am I thinking of?
Buzzcocks, maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah, out of that punk era, I think Buzzcocks were the main Manchester representatives. And don't get me wrong, I've got a lot of time for the Buzzcocks, but out of that sort of original wave of punk, the Clash were head and shoulders above the other. I know, like the Sex Pistols were sort of, the poster boys, and they sort of went in hard and had that the one album which, is great, but it's all sort of similar sounds and stuff. The Clash were in another league, really. The way they sort of adapted as well. And even on the first album, the first Clash album was probably the only one that's really a pure punk album. And even on that, they had the little reggae cover of Police and Thieves, which is fantastic. And they would always incorporate bits of reggae and ska and loads of other influences into the later albums. But to take that sort of punk energy, and they were the ones who would sort of really add. The Sex Pistols were all more about the statement, weren't they? Like God Save the Queen and as a fuck you to the monarchy and stuff. But it was all, a lot of it was really sort of staged, and they were sort of put together almost as a sort of like the punk boy band, because they were put together by Malcolm McLaren. It was all quite heavy on the marketing. Whereas the Clash, Joe Strummer's lyrics were sort of a lot more insightful. They were a political band, definitely, but they were the ones who sort of had something, a bit more real and a bit more interesting to say, and with both the political and the social commentary, and it wasn't playing for the controversy and for the audience in the same way that Sex Pistols was. The Clash always felt a lot more genuine to me, and a lot more interesting musically. So I think I'd throw the Clash into my top 5 because a lot of respect. I don't know. Are you a Clash fan?
I don't think. What are some of their most famous songs?
I mean, London Calling's the big one. Isn't it? That's not really a. That's one of those that always seems to be included in like the best punk songs ever. To me, that's not even a punk song. That's it's just a sort of a upbeat rock song, really. Yeah, because it doesn't have the energy of some of their earlier stuff. Like what were the big ones off the first album? Off the first album, like Janie Jones, Libertines did a cover of that. I don't know if you remember that. But
I was never really. I've dabbled in a lot of things, but punk, like kind of like the Smiths, Clash, and a few of those other Sex Pistols. I've not really listened to much of their stuff ever, to be honest.
I wouldn't really call the Smiths punk though. They're sort of post-punk, early indie, really. But
is it?
Yeah, because I mean, a lot of that sort of, a lot of sort of indie stuff sort of evolved from from punk, sort of via bands like The Clash, who started branching out from those sort of aggressive 3-chord riffs pretty quickly and started incorporating other influences. And then, you had sort of the next wave of bands coming up, sort of experimenting further outside of, the simplicity and the aggression of punk. And it's sort of, and I think the Smiths are sort of one of those that came out of that. But yeah, no, I mean, punk's had a massive influence on a lot of stuff that's followed, and not like I say, not just within the punk scene, but
one political musician who I do like is Billy Bragg.
Oh, I love Billy Bragg. Yeah,
Billy Bragg. I thought you'd like Billy Bragg.
Yeah. I mean, he's one of those sort of original, what I would describe as folk punk as well, because he came off sort of the punk scene and is very sort of political. And you listen to a lot of his earlier stuff as well. He recorded it on the electric, but didn't really have a backing band and the stuff. It's a really interesting sort of and unique sort of sound, that just sort of strumming an electric guitar like it was an acoustic, just with that, or with minimal backing. I mean, it's not. You can see why it didn't really break into
mainstream,
into the mainstream like that. But yeah,
but it doesn't. It's like he's just like, oh, Billy Bragg.
Yeah,
it just sounds like fucking old man down the pub.
Yeah,
which effectively is.
Yeah, but honestly, what's wrong with an old man singing down the pub if he's having a good old fun rant and passion behind it?
New England, that's a great fucking song.
Yeah.
And then Thatcherites, that's a good name. That's
a
good song.
And was it Waiting for the Great Leap Forward? That's one of my favourite ones. That's fucking brilliant.
Power in the Union.
Power in the Union, great.
That's also, I think that's a brilliant song.
And
that's on my I've got like a playlist of about 10 or 12 songs. It's called Feel Good Fat Boys in it.
Wow.
But it's for when I like just want to get myself revved up, or I just want to be like, I'm feeling good and I want to feel a little bit better, and I just put that on because they're all kind of like upbeat, make me want to go cause a revolution or something.
Yeah.
And that's one of them, Power in the Union's in that.
Yeah.
Great song.
Ideologies as well. Have you heard that one?
Don't think so.
I think it's on the same. I think it's on the same album as There's Power in the Union. Is it Talking to the Taxman about poetry? I think it is. But it's no, Ideologies are great. That's his real stab at Parliament, and I really love that one. But similar vibe to There's Power in the Union. All good left wing shit,
And so then, who is number? Shout out to Billy Bragg. Well done.
Yeah.
So who's your number 5 then?
Number 5. Well, I'm going to say the Pogues.
I was hoping they'd come.
Yeah, I thought. Yeah. I almost didn't think, but then when I was thinking about the Clash, I was thinking, and obviously the Pogues, especially since Shane MacGowan's died. How can I not throw them into my top 5 at the very least as a tribute? But I mean, I always loved the Pogues. Again, they're one of those that I sort of grew up with from a young age. I don't think my grandma was that into them, but I remember. I think my dad must have had a tape in the car, because I do remember sort of listening to him. And obviously, once you get around to Christmas, Fairy Tale of New York is everywhere, and it is the greatest Christmas song ever written. But no, I think the older I've got, the more I appreciate them, because again, they sort of were an offshoot of that early London punk scene, and we're close friends with the Clash and with Joe Strummer and that. And in fact, Joe Strummer sang with him on numerous occasions, and even when they kicked Shane MacGowan out of the band the first time, Strummer actually sang for them during that tour. He never actually recorded with them, but he actually had to stand in as the singer for a bit.
God, that'd be hard boots to fill, wouldn't it?
Yeah. But then again, Joe Strummer's Joe Strummer. Like having the guy from the Clash singing the Pogues does seem kind of, even though he's English, is I don't think there was any Irish in Joe Strummer, but the voice kind of works. I can see that working. But still no Shane MacGowan. I mean, there was no one like Shane MacGowan. No one had the voice of Shane. There's been many people in pubs who've tried to imitate Shane MacGowan. No one can do it. But it's not just the voice and the look and the presence. It's the words. I'm one of those people who really does listen to the lyrics, and some songs the lyrics matter less. Some songs you can enjoy just the music and the lyrics can be shite, and that's fine too. But I really like songs with good lyrics, and I can sort of respect that. And the Pogues are one of those that managed to be exciting and energetic and great live show, great presence, but also I did have something to say. You listen to Shane MacGowan's lyrics, and it's like fucking poetry, man. For me, it's like the last of the great poets, because there's there's a song that I do cover quite a lot called Pair of Brown Eyes.
Yeah.
And some of the lines in that, there's this bit in the second verse that says, was it, so drunk to hell, I left the place.
I knew you were going to say that.
Sometimes crawling, sometimes walking. And a hungry sound came across the breeze, so I gave the walls a talking. And I just think that's genius. Yeah?
Yeah.
And I heard the sounds of long ago from the old canal, and the birds were whistling in the trees while the wind was gently laughing. I mean, where's that come from? That's absolutely beautiful.
His lyrics, I think, some of the songs that he wrote, it's like a man who's lived 5 lives.
Yeah.
That's the only way I can describe it. Some of the stuff he's writing about, like, there's one, I can't remember which song it's in, and he's talking about being at sea, and it's like sailing.
Yeah. Turkish Song of the Damned, maybe?
Could have been, yeah. And some of the lyrics, and it's just, I'm like, this is insane.
Yeah.
And there's another one, like some of his poetry is, he's talking about these graves that are buried under the sand dunes, and like I don't know, it's just all this stuff, and I'm like, he just has so much pain, like he's just lived all these lives in all these different places, and just absorbs it all. But it's absolutely meant. Like I read, there's one of his biographies is called A Drink with Shane MacGowan, and it's basically Victoria Mary Clark interviews him, and then the book is their interviews verbatim. So like she, maybe in like 5 or 10 different instances, will just like talk to him, and he's just so switched on, even though like, his memory is amazing. He can remember like everything about where he was and who he was and all these different stuff, even though he's obviously like totally abused himself the whole time. And sometimes she'll question something he says and say like, no, that's wrong, and then he'll be like, no, it's not wrong because A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and she'll be like, oh right, yeah. Like it's rare that she catches him out with anything, although she always tries. But it's rare that she catches him out, and it's just, I don't know, the wisdom and stuff that comes out of him, and I don't know, he's an amazing person. I was gutted I never got to see the Pogues as well.
No, same. I never got to see him. It's one of those where,
but I think they stopped performing in like basically when I was born.
Well, but they did a load. They did sort of a big comeback. Comeback. They reformed at some point during the noughties, because I remember them being on tour and thinking, oh, maybe I should try to get tickets for that, but they went like that. And I think it's one of those things where, as a teenager, you don't quite realise, do you? You don't think this might never happen again. You think, they'll come round again at some point. And they probably did once or twice, but never managed to get the tickets. And then all of a sudden it was like, no, we're done again. We're done. I think partly because of Shane's health, but I don't know. I think there was also stuff like, I think he was on record saying something like, we like doing it and seeing each other once in a while, but once you get back together for too long, we remember why we hated each other.
He hated touring as well.
That. Yeah. So it's got to be one of my big regrets that I never saw him live.
Have you heard the Mary Wallopers?
I have, yeah.
They are.
I think exciting.
They're really exciting, and I think they are filling the boots of the Pogues.
Yeah,
they're the new Pogues.
There's definitely that feeling. And I mean, I know they were building a lot of momentum before Shane MacGowan died, but I think since he's died, they seem to be everywhere, and I think there might be a bit of that sort of nostalgia for the Pogues. So. Now that Shane MacGowan's died, people are a bit like, a bit like us saying, "Oh, we never got to see them live," and like it's got, now that that's gone, there's almost like a thirst for it, and the Mary Wallopers are very much there to fill that gap. And I'm not saying that's the only reason they've got big, because like I say, I think they were already building a lot of momentum, but now all of a sudden they're on Jules Holland's Hootenanny and doing stuff like that, and it seems to be very much on an upward trajectory, and I think that's great. I think it's about time we had another sort of big Irish band, appreciating all those traditions and doing the traditional songs.
They've got some brilliant lyrics, though. Some of their songs are amazing.
Yeah, I've not listened to them that extensively, but I've had their album on a few times, and the latest one anyway. And I'm thinking, great balance of stuff there. There's obviously songs like Bold O'Donoghue and The Holy Ground that I know well, and then there's others that I assume are originals that I don't know so well, but all of it's really good. But I think what's great about them is that and probably the reason why they've taken off so much more than any other band is that they're not carbon copies of the Pogues. There's definitely a lot of Pogues DNA in the music, the way that they've got the mainly sort of the traditional instruments and the acoustic guitar rather than electric. So they're not going down the sort of the more American Dropkick Murphys flogging Molly route of punk, but they're sort of their punk bit is in the way that they're singing and in the fact they've got the drum beat going and the bass with them, which is very much Pogue's setup. But then their voices, they've got three of them singing, and none of them are trying to be Shane MacGowan. And I think that's the thing that really sticks out. They've really got their own sound vocally, and like I said before, there's so many bands trying to take off the Pogues that you hear in pubs throughout Ireland and in the UK, and in other places. I remember being at a Celtic music festival here in Catalonia, up in the Pyrenees, and the first band that were on in the middle of the street were just trying to be the Pogues, and so it's one of those where it happens everywhere. You got so many. It's a band that obviously the Pogues have so much influence on modern Celtic music and modern Irish music that it's so many bands try to take them off and have the drums there doing those sort of marching beats and the and throw electric instruments in there, and they all try to take off Shane MacGowan, and I think that's what sets the Mary Wallopers apart for me, is that they're not just trying to imitate Shane MacGowan. They're not just trying to be the Pogues. They're trying to sort of stand on their own 2 feet, and but I like it. I like the energy, I like the aggression behind it, and I like the fact that they're bringing Irish folk back into the public eye. So
I saw
full respect to the Mary Wallopers there.
Yeah, shout out to Mary Wallopers.
Yeah,
I'm hoping to see them this year. Because they're playing everywhere now. And I saw that they're doing a tour they're going to Cologne, Hamburg, Copenhagen, and Amsterdam.
Won't be coming to Spain because no one comes to Spain.
And literally no artists.
Yeah,
come to Barcelona.
And at least if they do, the ones who actually manage to cross the Pyrenees do Barcelona. They do Barcelona, Madrid, and rarely anywhere else. But I think it's just, I don't know what it is about Spain, but I'm guessing it's just because it's a little bit further out of the way, so it's.
On a plane, it's not though.
No, but if you're travelling in a tour bus, it's the extra petrol to go down and then come back up again. When you could just play a few places, do the sort of the circuit in France and France, Germany, north of Italy, maybe, and then the sort of the northern Europe bits like Netherlands, Belgium, Denmark usually get a look in, but then fewer bands go up to Scandinavia because again it's just that bit further out of the way, and there's a lot of bands.
I hadn't thought of it like that. Yeah. They're actually coming in trucks and stuff.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing. But there are some artists that manage to get out to Spain. Although something that I've noticed as well, because I've seen Frank Turner a few times over here. He usually makes the effort to get to Spain. But the last time he was here, it was just an acoustic set. It was just him and one other guy supporting him on mandolin for the most part, just to take out the melodies. And the fact that he didn't bring the whole band with him was probably because they just decided to fly in on a plane. Yeah. I would guess because way
easier.
Just pack up the guitars and whatnot. But I don't know. I might be wrong. Maybe they came in on a bus. But it just struck me as odd because I'd never seen him do a stripped down show, and it was only like the Spanish dates were the only ones on his tour, I believe, that it was that he stripped it down. I think it's just the pain in the ass getting to Spain, I guess.
True. So tell us about your new album.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, so I've got this new album out. It's called One More Glass of Whiskey. 9 tracks that of stuff that I've been sort of sitting on, stroke writing for the last few years. Like I said, the first album I put out, very DIY. So This Is Life came out in 2018, I think, and then. A few things happened. Fatherhood, COVID, everything sort of goes on the back burner. And in that time, I've put out, I've just been putting out EPs, mainly of comedy songs. one song of Irish music, one EP of 4 Irish traditional folk songs, but then I've had a fair bit of original material just sort of building up that I knew I wanted to record properly this time. I wanted to I didn't just want to do it in the spare bedroom using GarageBand and using the little setup I've got at home, because sounded all right for the early stuff, but it does sound very DIY. I wanted because this collection of songs I thought was that was pretty. I thought they were pretty good. I thought it was a bit of a step up from what I've done, and I really wanted it to sort of sound a bit more professional this time. So I've just been sort of waiting for an opportunity and to get enough cash together to get into a studio, which is what I did finally last year. And so I've got this album finally ready now, and it came out last month, and and I think I'm pretty happy with it. I don't know. Any more specific questions?
Yeah. So the one that I know from it is
people outside.
People outside. Hello, children.
Oh, yeah.
One more glass of whiskey.
Yep.
That's a very good song. Where did the idea for that come from?
Right. Well,
explain the concept
as you're probably aware, it's basically about a corrupt, absolute bastard of a policeman. The idea. So that's one that's actually been sort of around for a bit. I mean, I've been playing it live for quite a while now, and actually since pre-COVID. It's one of the oldest songs on the album, because I wrote it not long after I put out the first one, and because a few people asked me whether it was sort of inspired by the George Floyd murder, and no, I mean, honestly, it was before that. I think
you should be like, yeah, it was actually, yeah.
Yeah, but no, I mean, this is the sad thing, is that it was sort of, the idea was sparked off by a very similar incident, and the even sadder thing is, I actually can't remember which one, because there've been that many in the States where people have been killed, and when we say people, I mean obviously African American people have been killed by police for basically no reason, for either mistaken identity or just from being way too quick to go for the gun. Sorry, and I can't remember which one it was that I remember being on the news, and there'd been a protest about it, and again, like as happens, people take to the streets, and the police go in to sort of contain it and end up being heavy-handed. And so, it's one of those things where the George Floyd one might have been the biggest time it's blown up in recent memory, but it certainly wasn't the first, and it won't be the last. But it was one of those incidents that made me think, the sort of got me angry and got me, getting my pen out and starting to come up with lyrics about it. But it sort of grew from that, because around the same time, I don't know if you remember here, they had there was the whole thing with the Catalan independence vote, which didn't have the approval of the government in Madrid, and the response to that was they sent in the Guardia Civil, the essentially military police or federal police or whatever you want to call them, and it's harrowing footage on the news then of Catalan independence supporters doing sit-down protests basically in the voting centres. Oh, sorry. Where they just sort of all sat down and blocked the way in. They were sitting, all on the floor of the entrance and up the stairs. Not really doing anything other than sitting there, just making it, difficult for the police to get up and take the ballots and, arrest whoever was in charge or whatever they were doing. And there's just this harrowing footage of the news of them just going in there with batons, just whacking these people who are sitting down, throwing them out of the way. And then that sort of started playing into my head, that it's just, it's not. It wasn't just an issue, it's not just an issue in the States, and it's not just a race thing. And I started thinking about all these other times where I've seen it happen. I've seen it happen in England, and again, it's get this footage caught on the news, which the actual newsreaders very rarely actually comment on, where you see. You see sort of confrontations between protesters and I've got to say rioters as well, to be fair, with police, and you'll always have the few rioters at the front who will, have covered the faces and be throwing bricks at the police, and they'll be the ones sort of, who are, inciting the police to respond and to go in. But when they go in, you notice it so many times on the footage that's taken that there's always some of these police that don't go for the troublemakers at the front, the people who are being violent. They don't go to confront them. They go to the sides, to the people who aren't doing anything. Sometimes just passers by who happen to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. People who aren't causing any sort of trouble and aren't aren't throwing anything, might not even be shouting, might just be walking there. And they go in and just fucking kick the shit out of them or whack the shit out of them with batons. And, and all this stuff started, going around in my head. And also the other element as well was that I used to work with a what do you call them? The sort of the volunteer police, the auxiliary police. Basically they get paid nothing to jack all, but they're sort of on the ladder to becoming a proper officer. Not exactly community support, but yeah, this lad was one of them, and he was South Asian descent. And I remember him telling me some stories about what happened down at the police station, and about how this entrenched mentality and sort of the old guard, these sort of senior officers who they all knew were either taking bribes or were or had planted evidence in some cases, who would also, always sort of be looking down with prejudice at, the people they receive to be the criminal element or whatever, or people from rough areas, and in some cases, again, were racist. And this was back in Manchester, and in some cases, would openly make racist comments in the police station, and had operated with discrimination out in the field. And yeah, and it was just sort of thinking about all these things. I just realised it's sort of a real endemic problem in law enforcement, and not just in any one country, but in many countries. So it sort of came from this idea, from all these ideas, and so I started writing this song from just trying to get into that mindset and try to think about the sort of the culture and how someone who's going into because I don't think that it extends to all policemen, but I think that there's there's this issue with it being so entrenched in the culture that no one says anything. Either because there's a rule of silence about, even if you see your fellow officers doing stuff that you're not okay with, there's sort of a spirit of brotherhood there that you don't rat on your colleagues. It's a code of silence. And then there's other cases where people are too scared to speak out because they know that it could do the career in, that these senior officers have a lot more sway and could make their life hell, and they don't report what they're seeing. But all this is just ends up being complicit in maintaining this culture of corruption, as I think of it. And even this mate of mine, because he was a good guy, and he wanted to be a policeman because he wanted to make a difference, because he wanted to, uphold justice, and that's the kind of people that you want in the police. But the problem is that there's in my mind, the police is one of those professions like being a pilot, where you can't just having a few bad eggs. It undermines the whole thing, because you've got to be held to that higher standard. You're maintaining justice for society. Your main job is to protect everyone else, and it's like I say, it's the case of if you had a few pilots coming into work drunk and crashing planes into mountains, no one would travel by air. And I think police have to be held to that higher standard. When if there's this kind of corruption in the force, it needs to be sort of weeded out root and stem and rebuilt, essentially, to get the kind of law enforcement that we need. And there's got to be better vetting of the people that you're letting in the first place.
But do you think that corruption can be weeded out?
I don't know. I honestly don't know. But writing that song, I didn't claim to come up with any solutions. It was really just sort of trying to sort of again react to my sort of frustration with all these things going on that I felt powerless to do anything about. But then also to try to understand it, and that's why I tried to write the song from the point of view of this policeman who sort of comes in to the force young and idealistic and becomes twisted by the influence of older officers that he respects, and eventually sort of becomes the ultimate embodiment of everything that's wrong with the police force. So by the end of it, he is quite obviously, both, corrupt and accepting of bribes, and is, violent, prone to acts of brutality, and is racist, and is all these things because he thinks there's not going to be any repercussions. And then by the end of the song, there sort of is, but it's still not exactly, he still doesn't go to prison or anything for, and which a lot of officers don't. I mean, and I know that, in some cases they have done, and I think now, particularly since George Floyd and that, I think there's, I think there's more pressure to try to hold officers to account. And I know that the guy who killed George Floyd went to prison, and that's, a step in the right direction. But certainly there are, many officers who get away with shit, especially when in situations like riots, when the helmets are down and it might not be obvious who's done what in all the chaos. But yeah, that's that song basically. That's where that's come from. Yeah, sort of picking apart the problems in law enforcement and sort of condensing it into this one character who's an absolute bastard, but has been made a monster essentially by the problems that are there.
Yeah, it's a very interesting concept, and I think about it quite a lot, like corruption and what can be done about it. And I wrote a thing recently, and one of the lines was, "Is even the most righteous freedom fighter vulnerable to corruption once their place in power is secured?" And it's just like, power corrupts.
Yeah. No, 100%.
And that's the thing that I think about any position, like the police, politicians, even teachers.
Yeah.
Anything like that where people go into it, in a lot of cases, some people go in it because they're fucking power crazy people. That, that's fine. Those people exist.
Yeah.
But a lot of people go into those type of jobs because they genuinely want to make a difference.
Yeah.
And I think
100%.
They probably genuinely want to make a difference. In a lot of cases, for the likes of politician or whatever, study for years and then work their way up the ladder, and then they get in.
Yeah.
And then they're like, it must be so deflating to realize that things are the way they are, and changing them is close to impossible.
Yeah.
And basically, if they want to get anywhere in their career, they basically just have to bend over and give up all of their values.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they're just not going to amount to, they can try and make some sort of change by giving up 90% of their values and try and work on 10% of what they would like to do.
Yeah.
Even less than that, 1% of what they'd like to do. And it must be so just dehumanizing and just demoralizing. And I don't know.
Totally.
It's the same with the police. It's like, I always feel a bit bad for them in the riots and stuff because, there might be 100 police versus 10,000 rioters, and you must be absolutely shiting yourself, especially in America where everyone's got guns. It's not so bad over here. You're getting bricks thrown at you, which sucks. Maybe some petrol bombs, which is also terrible. But they are in riot gear to protect them as much as possible from that type of thing. But you're still literally facing people who are trying to hurt you, and you're not allowed to hurt them back. But they can hurt you, and the chances of the chances of them getting caught is slim.
Yeah.
If you stepped over the line in the heat of the moment, it must be really, really difficult to walk that line.
Yeah, no.
And there are some people that push it way too far, obviously, and that's terrible. But it must be, that high intensity setting.
Yeah, no, I mean, don't get me wrong. I agree with you there, but this is why I'm for sort of better vetting of the people who are coming into the police force, and probably better training as well for.
How do you vet people though if they come in at the age of 18?
Yeah, it's difficult, isn't it? But I mean, I think there's got to be more focus on the I don't know, just on personality, and motivation, and probably monitoring as well through the training how they're responding to certain things, because I think you need to have a certain mentality to be able to be in that and to be in that line of work. But the other aspect of this as well is they need more funding. I mean, I know that I'm probably coming off as quite anti-cop from from what I've just been saying, and from that song from One More Glass of Whiskey, but no, I mean, what I would want really is reform, because I don't think it'd work having a society without the police. We need law enforcement to make, to, like I say, to protect people and to uphold justice. That this is the thing. It's got to be, about protecting people. It's got to be about making sure, that everything's fair. This is the sort of the big thing. But to be able to create that, you need the government to actually fucking pay them more. I think is because it is a difficult job. It is a job that can end up with a lot of danger, like in situations like riots, or with dealing with dangerous criminals. And yeah, high risk deserves more pay, but only if you're actually a good cop and not quick to beat the crap out of people, or if you're willing to look to look the other way for a wad of cash. It's that sort of
depends on the size of the wad of cash.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is it. But you want
the rule should be like, look, if it's less than 10 grand, you're getting in trouble. More than 10 grand, fair enough.
Well, maybe, but this is
that's a joke, by the way.
I know.
People that are listening there, I have a smile on my face. I'm joking.
Yeah,
20 grand. No.
20 grand. But yeah, but no, you're totally right that power corrupts, and I think in answer to your question about would even the most righteous freedom fighter. Thank you. I couldn't think of what the adjective was. The something freedom fighter. Yeah. No, of course, if they and you've seen it. When if you look at like Cuba and stuff, when freedom fighters have overthrown a government, and once they've got the power, they don't let it go. And I'm not saying that everything about the Castro regime's terrible. They've actually done some good stuff, but they've also disappeared some people. It's there's plenty of Cubans that would tell you that particularly the ones that have escaped, that things aren't all well there. But yeah, on the flip side, they have done some good stuff. They've got one of the best healthcare systems in some of the best doctors and stuff in the Americas. But yeah, I mean, obviously, power corrupted them because they've never let go of the control. You know what I mean? This
is just my little.
And this is the thing. Like, I think if you want to try to make government work and try to maintain people's integrity, I think there's got to be more of a limit on how long someone can stay in office. Because I think that's part of the issue, that in a lot of countries you can keep running for X number of terms and end up with the same leader and the same cabinet for years on end, and
however,
go on.
However, that seems logical to it seems like a good idea in theory to be changing every 4 years or whatever it is, changing government. But think about when you start a new job, you're shit at it at first. You're shit. It takes ages to get used to. It takes a year to get used to your new job. Putting out reforms and anything like that, actually changing anything, takes years and years and years.
Yeah,
so you
can't,
point. If you're only in there for 4 years, a government in there for 4 years, you can't change anything. And that's why nothing changes, I think. Like if you...
Might be some truth to that.
If you had, in theory, a benevolent leader that benevolent leader, it would actually make far more sense to have a benevolent leader for a long term.
Yeah.
Because they have the longevity to actually be able to make changes and see them through.
Yeah. Assuming the power doesn't corrupt them first.
Assuming the power doesn't corrupt them
catch-22,
first.
isn't it? Yeah.
Exactly. And then that it's always niggling me that, like, the people that...
He said niggling, by the way.
Yeah, niggling. That it's always niggling at me that the people who complain about power and power structures are just, to me, seem like people who just want power themselves, and they don't like the fact that other people have it and they feel powerless. And that was kind of like what sparked my little thing for righteous freedom fighter, because I'm like, what is a freedom fighter? Are they liberating everybody else, or are they just pissed off that they're not in power? There's a bit of both.
It probably depends on the individual, doesn't it? But I don't know, like it.
Because that's what happens, isn't it? You come in, if you're the liberator, you then de facto become the leader.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think.
There has to be that seed within them.
Oh yeah, I'm just trying to think of examples. But yeah, going back to people like like with the Cuba situation, the leaders certainly remained in power for a long time. I suppose the people fighting for them didn't necessarily. You know, like I think your general soldiers in the Cuban Revolution were probably they wouldn't have all got into positions of power. You know, there's probably people who fought actually believing in the cause and then attained it, but without that impulse for power. But yeah, so you're probably right that at least the people leading these freedom fighting movements, but might well come from that standpoint of wanting the power for themselves. Maybe, I don't know, or maybe it's a thing of necessity. Maybe it's like change is needed and no one else is going to do it, and maybe it's a reluctant thing. I mean, I kind of get that impression a bit with with Michael Collins leading Irish independence, because he sort of ran the military side of stuff with the original IRA, but then once they got independence, he ended up being president, and I'm not sure that's something he ever really wanted. It was supposed to be De Valera was originally sort of the political leader, but after they split and De Valera was like, I don't know how much you know about Irish history, but De Valera just seems like a bit of a slimy sort, because he seems like he set Collins up as the sort of the patsy to go and sign the treaty to petition the North, and then Dev was like, no, and started the Irish Civil War over it. But I get the impression that I don't think Michael Collins was interested in the presidency or in.
They do say though that the best leaders are the ones who don't want to be leaders.
Yeah, but we'll never really know whether that would be true of Collins, because they shot him. But no, it's a very interesting philosophical question, but I don't think it's one we're going to manage to solve today.
I'll leave it to stew on that for the next 30 years.
Yeah.
So what's coming up in 2024 for you?
Well, I mean, I'm going to keep plugging this album for starters, because, like I say, it's only been out for a month, and there's plenty of other tracks to enjoy, as well as One More Glass of Whiskey. Looking at the camera. I'm one of my big aims is to try to go on tour again, because I've not done a proper tour since 2020. I want to say a proper tour. I'm very low level here. It's, in my mind, if I manage to string three shows together in different cities in the same week, then that counts as a tour in my book.
Well, that's definitely a tour.
I've got a couple of dates booked in England in March. So that will be the start of it. I'm still looking to try to book a couple more over that same weekend. And I'll be doing shows in Barcelona on either side of it. So that's something that I really want to do. I want to try just playing more places. Because last year, sure you saw, I did a sort of, halfway through the year I decided, I've been playing a lot, let's see if we can get to 30 shows by the end of the year. Not a lot by some artist standards, but I'm juggling day job and parenting and the rest. So, being able to sort of fit in more than 2 shows a month is good, but is good in my book. So I managed to do my target of 30. I was wondering whether this year I should push for 40, but I think for the moment I'll just be happy if I just manage to play in different places. I think that's my big aim for the year, is to just try to play in as many places as possible. Reach a few new people, and hopefully visit places I've never been before, and just for the excuse of playing a gig there. I think that's my big one that I want to do. I'm planning to do a few more videos for other singles off the album, because the only one I've released so far is the title track, which we've already talked about extensively. But no, there's a couple of other songs that are. So I've got ideas of videos that I want to do. Probably the next one is going to be Punk's Not Dead, It Just Got Old, which is one of the most fun ones to play. We've got to sort of to say it's got punk in the title. It's probably one of the more folky ones in terms of I don't know if you've heard it. They've got that little bit of melody going as well. It's written in. I did this on quite a few of the songs off this album, actually. We're writing in an open tune in Dad Gad, if you're a guitarist, and the idea being that it sort of opens me up to sort of play more complicated stuff on my own without needing to have backing musicians. It's always nice to have backing musicians, but it's just really hard trying to fucking organise everyone's timetable. So I just like having the freedom to be able to just do a gig on my own if need be, without anyone backing me. And this is one of the songs where I've written a bit of a sort of folky melody, but that I can sort of strum these chords at the same time, essentially, and have these drone notes going that fill out the sound. So
why does Dad Gad make it easier? So wait, just explain what Dad Gad is.
Dad Gad, sorry. So it's gone off on a tangent here, haven't we? But sorry. The idea is it's an open tuning, so that essentially if you play all the strings open, it's a chord, basically. So
that's why.
Yeah. So this means that you can start playing like bits of melody on single strings higher up, but still keep hitting the open strings, and it fills out the sound in the same way you would have a rhythm guitar or a bass. So it doesn't sound, because if you're just playing single notes, as you'll know yourself, it sounds very empty. You get diddle 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 or whatever you're doing, but there's nothing behind it. There's nothing filling out. It just sounds like one note. It doesn't sound like a whole piece of music. But yeah, if you use an open tuning, the idea is that you can get other notes going behind it, either by strumming while you're playing the higher notes as well, which is something that I do on this song on Punk's Not Dead, or you can just let the open notes ring, and they call them drone notes, and it's the same principle as with like bagpipes and stuff like that. You often have a low drone holding sort of like the bass note, and then play the melody over the top. And again, it's something that's quite common in folk music, in a lot of those traditional instruments.
Yeah, I always see it in Dad Gad.
Yeah, and so now that guitars have sort of been added to the folk repertoire. I mean, this isn't new. This has been most of the 20th century that guitars have sort of been incorporated into folk. But yeah, it's a common tuning that they use in folk guitar, because it allows a lot more openness. It frees you up to do a little bit of melody if you need to. Also sounds quite warm because it's down tuned from standard, so it's a little bit lower, a little bit bassier. And yeah, I suppose the other advantage that makes it easy to play is because you're slackening the strings, it makes it a little bit lighter to play as well. So it lends itself very much to that style of music. Something you might want to experiment with yourself, now that you're writing songs for your poetry. But I
never understood. I've seen it and I knew what it was, but I never understood the reason behind it. So now I know.
Yeah. And if anyone's listening and wondering why it's called Dad Gad, it's the tuning of the strings. D, so the low string goes down to D from E to D. So it's D A D G A D, and yeah. But yeah, it's nice. It's got a really nice sound to it. I really like the tone you get out of that tuning. It was kind of the reason why I picked it up as well was another artist that I didn't give a shout out in my top 5, and maybe on another day would do. This Scottish folk singer and guitarist called Dick Gaughan. And if you haven't listened to him, very much recommend it. But he's sort of the master of using open tunings to do little twiddly stuff. And yeah, some of the stuff that he's done over the years is absolutely insane. There's one or two of his versions of songs that I try to cover live every so often because I just think it sounds so good, basically. But yeah, so he was a big influence on this latest album. But yeah, so what the hell were we talking? How the hell did we get onto this?
What you're doing for the
yeah. So yeah, I was saying I'm going to try to do a video for this song, the Punk's Not Dead. It just got old, which is kind of about. Again, kind of what it says on the tin. It's sort of a bit of a tribute to the old Manchester punk scene I used to play in, and a lot of the musicians that were either in bands with me or in bands that used to share bills with while playing on the scene get name dropped in the song as well. But yeah, it's just sort of about how I've sort of carried on making music, but sort of you get older, you keep switching up, but you still got that fire in my belly to make the odd political statement and stuff. The punk hasn't quite gone, but it's all on acoustic now. So yeah. But anyway, point is that want to make a video for that, so I'm getting a few friends, including the people who've been name dropped, to basically just send us in videos of them doing stupid shit to the song, and that's going to be the idea for the video. It's just sort of get them all in, and maybe have a few. If we can track down a few old pictures and video clips from back in the day, it might be nice to sort of throw them in to juxtapose like what we were and then what we've become. That's the idea for that one.
Responsible, civilized gentlemen.
Yeah. So there's that. I'd like to do a video for that first track, the one where I sort of rib Ed Sheeran a little bit as well, because that's pretty much the only funny song. It's the only song I would say is a comedy song off this album. Like whereas in the past I've sort of lent probably more to the comedy than the serious stuff. This album's mainly serious. There's bits of humour throughout, but the only one that I would actually say is a comedy song, and the only one that I would and have performed at comedy nights is the first track, which is called "The Sad Truth," about what I decided to do with my life. And yeah, and that's sort of about it's sort of taking the piss out of acoustic guitarists and the sort of like we start off with a bit of ribbing about people who pull out a guitar at parties and decide to just force their music on everyone. The people might want to crack on the music they want to listen to. You might want to have a dance. Might just want to be there talking, and then some pricks pulling out an acoustic guitar. And I've been that prick, so it's as self-deprecating as it is just taking the piss out of other people. But and then they sort of go on about open mic nights and how it's one of those things where if you're doing a comedy open mic, people listen because they know it's a comedy open mic. If you're doing a music open mic, very often you get up and you want to, much like in comedy, you want to try out new material, want to see how it goes, play it off an audience. But one of the sort of funny and frustrating things is that very often people are just there to chill and chat, and that's perfectly fine. The audience is there to do what the audience wants. You want to go to a bar, they might just want to have some music on in the background and occasionally look at the stage and chat with the friends and stuff, and that should all be fine. But as a musician, that's really frustrating when you just want people to listen and all they do is talking over you, and then you come off stage, and then the next person who gets up does something popular, and then they're all like, yeah, suddenly paying attention and singing along. You're just kind of like, what the fuck, man? Same songs we've been hearing out, just fucking Wonderwall again,
Play Wonderwall.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, so it's just sort of ribbing that, and again, because I've been on both sides of that. It's sort of a little self-deprecating because I've been one of those many people who's given up and sold out my integrity and strummed Oasis or Ed Sheeran on the stage. I'm nothing against, again, like I say, nothing against Ed Sheeran, nothing against Oasis either. They're one of my favourite bands, being from Manchester, overplayed as fuck. But that's, like I say, that's what the sort of song's joking about. But I'd like to do a video for that one as well, because that's I think that's one that I could quite easily do. Go into, whether it's the open mic night at Craft or somewhere like that, and try to either film it at an open mic night or partly there, or maybe just sort of see if I can get the venue at a time when no one's in, like during the day, get a few people in there, and then just sort of play out these scenarios. Because I just think it'd be quite funny, and I like funny videos. That's something I've always tried to do. So videos on the horizon, I think, is the other thing. There's one more track I'd like to. I know this might be too ambitious trying to do all these songs as videos, but there's one other song that I would love to do a video for off the album, but I haven't quite got an idea for it, and that's the 4th track called Rope. Don't know if have you heard that one yet? No. Honestly, it's probably one of my favourite ones off the album. And it's one that it's not definitely not a funny one. It's one that where I think I opened up a bit more. It's quite simple and to the point, but sort of about mental health, really, and sort of about the ups and downs that I've had, and sort of how grateful I am to have had someone there for me. But yeah, and again, it's a dad-gad one. Lets me do some nice little bits of melody in between the more simple chords, and it's just one that I really like, and a few people have said that they really like. There's another beautiful bit of fiddle on that as well, by the way. I should give a shout out to Mary Mahaffey, who a mate of mine who came in to do a bit of fiddle on One More Glass of Whiskey, on Rope, and on the last track, Portrait of a Sleeping City. And yeah, she absolutely knocked it out of the park. I'm not blowing my own trumpet a bit too much on the new album thing, but hey, it's new. Need to plug it a little bit, but that fiddle sounds absolutely phenomenal. Like, she's really really good musician, and thanks again, Mary, for coming in and doing that.
Thank you, Mary.
Yeah, so hopefully managed to do a video for a few of these songs that I'm spitballing ideas for. But that's the agenda. I want to do videos. I want to go on tour. I don't know, and then we'll see where else the year takes us.
Busy 2024. Yeah. So before we wrap it up,
yep,
as is customary, I need to ask you for your words of wisdom for the audience.
Oh God, do I seem like the wisest person?
Everybody has some wisdom within.
Oh, jeez. I should have thought about this before coming on.
Yeah, that's the point. I don't tell anyone in advance.
Oh, right.
I don't want them to be curating it, because then it's not true wisdom.
Oh, Jesus.
It's to be plucked like an essence from the soul.
I'd like to think that there's already been some wisdom imparted on this podcast. Like, first of all, don't do dry January all the way through. You don't need to do a whole month sober.
Okay.
Especially you, teetotaler.
Yeah, I did dry January for 6 years.
6 years, yeah. I don't know, and if you want to make it in the music business, it's about just keeping playing as much as possible and getting yourself out there, and whether that's playing live or whether that's your social media content. But then again, you might not want to pay any attention to what I've said, because I've still not made it in any way, shape or form. So
yet.
That's thanks. Need that vote of confidence.
I believe in you.
Yay! Believe in yourself. That's words of wisdom, isn't it?
Okay.
It's not really. It's a cliche. Don't believe in yourself. Wait for someone else to believe in you, and then it's all on them.
Then it's validated. There's also one other thing I need to give you, as well as your invitation. I need to give you a Quest for Wisdom t-shirt.
What? Oh, I love a t-shirt. Love a free t-shirt.
I gave you a medium because I think you're probably a medium.
Yep, I usually am a medium. Oh, this is great.
And I'll give you your invitation.
There you go.
I hope you accept my invitation to come on the podcast.
Yeah. No, I can't today, mate. I'm busy.
There you go.
Cheers. Oh, it's nice this as well. This would have been really cool to get in the post. Got like look at that little wax stamp and everything. Very professional. I feel like I'm being
Old school.
invited to Hogwarts.
That's the vibe I was going for.
There we go. Wow, look at that. Got silver seal on that one. Jeez. You are cordially invited to the Quest For Wisdom podcast. Nice. Well, thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks for having you. It's been lovely. I wish you all the success you desire for 2024.
Oh, likewise, mate.
And I'm sure we'll see you around soon. Hopefully I can come see you on Thursday. I feel like they've got something on Thursday, but I'll have to double check. If I don't, I should be able to come.
Nice. All right. Well, hopefully see you there then. Thanks for having us on, Connor.
What time's it on? On Thursday?
It is on. I think doors are 9:30. I think I'm probably starting around 10 then if doors are 9:30. But yeah,
I think I probably can make that then.
Whoop whoop.
Okay. Goodbye, everybody. Farewell for now.
See you in a bit.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Quest for Wisdom podcast with your host, Connor Monaghan. If you enjoyed the episode and would like to support the show, then please like it, subscribe, and leave a review on whichever platform you are using. This small act is a massive help and is hugely appreciated. You can find more information about all of our guests on thequestforwisdom.com and follow us at The Quest For Wisdom on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter for exciting updates. We also have a Patreon account for anyone who would like to contribute towards the running of the show. Finally, I would like to thank the Comedy Clubhouse in Barcelona for allowing us to record here and for their ongoing support. If you are ever in Barcelona, make sure to check it out for daily shows of comedy and performance art in English. Farewell for now.